Okay, everybody, I'm going to try this one more time, hopefully with no interruptions. But yeah, first of all, happy Memorial Day weekend to a lot of you folks out there. I hope you guys are having a safe one. I know a lot of you are traveling. A lot of you are starting your summer vacations. Your summer vacations, I should say. I know a lot of you are starting your summer vacations. A lot of you are on the verge of, well, yeah, you're on the verge. You mean you are doing your summer vacations. I'm sorry. It's just, I'm so distracted right now. I don't know if I'm going to get another interruption. So, anyway, but like I said, I know a lot of you are doing your summer vacations right now, starting them. Sorry about that. Doing your summer vacations and starting them right now, probably on the road as we speak, to spend the next few weeks, maybe month or so, wherever you're going. Probably going out to pay respects this weekend to those that have passed. So hope you all have a safe and fun Memorial Day weekend, as well as a safe and fun summer vacation as you begin it. And I know a lot of kids are getting out today from school for the summer vacation. So for those kids, be safe during your summer vacation. Now, as you see the title below or above, depending on how you're watching and listening to this audio video, this is a question that a lot of fans, I'm pretty sure, hardcore, casual, new, a lot of fans have been asking, and that is why was the MLP movie, the My Little Pony movie release date, or the release date for My Little Pony, what was the release date for the My Little Pony movie moved up to October 6th, or 10/6/2017? Well, there's a reasoning for that. Now, some might say that they want to do that. Hasbro AllSpark wants to do a quick cash in. They want to get it out as quickly as they can, so they can cash in with it being a top box office hit. Maybe number one, at the box office, as well as potentially do something that obviously is becoming a new trend, and that is get it out to home video in time for the Christmas season, maybe the beginning of the new year. If you don't believe me, take a look at Zootopia. Zootopia came out on March 5th, and now, not even 4 months later, it's coming out to Blu-ray and DVD. And why? Well, because the movie obviously was such a huge hit that Disney wants to continue that momentum of milking it for everything it has financially by getting it out in time for home video release. I think the other reason as well is, just like any kind of early release, they don't want it to coincide with the release of the next few films they got coming out this year. They don't want it to coincide and kind of take away any thunder that Finding Dora might get, the sequel to Finding Nemo. They don't want it to take away any kind of momentum that the BFG might get. And mostly from an animated classic standpoint, since this is the first of two they've released this year, they don't want it to take away from the momentum that Moana, I think that's the name, is going to have later this year as well. They don't want that momentum taken away at all. So I'm believing that's why Disney is releasing Zootopia only barely just 4 months after its release in theaters onto Blu-ray and DVD, so it doesn't interrupt and take away any kind of momentum that the other movies might have. So that's always, I guess, a good solution. I would assume that's always a good solution. So yeah, so just have to wait and see if that does work. But anyway, getting back to why this kind of has something to do with why Hasbro, Lionsgate, and Allspark Pictures have done this with My Little Pony's movie release date, is real simple. You see, just like Warner Brothers did something similar with Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, Lionsgate and Hasbro and Allspark Pictures are doing the same thing here. You see, they realize that November 2017, Marvel and DC, along with some other big-time movies or other studios like Disney and even DreamWorks, have several big projects on the way. They know that as far as Marvel and DC are concerned, they have big budget superhero films coming. As far as I know, from the DC side of things, you've got the Justice League Part 1. You got that coming. So, obviously, they don't want that taking away any kind of momentum that MLP's movie might get. Marvel, the same way. I think Marvel has, I believe, Black Panther coming out next year, I believe, around this time. So they don't want Black Panther taking away any momentum that MLP would have as well in November. And I think Disney has another animated film coming. I think it's Gigantic. I think that's the one that's coming out, possibly around next year. I don't know if it's early. If Gigantic comes out in the spring of next year, then MLP's movie wouldn't have nothing to fear. But if it's coming out in around the holiday season, then yeah, it's pretty much a 1, 2, 3 punch equals knockout situation as far as the MLP movie goes, because pretty much they're going to get knocked the heck out due to that triple teaming by Warner Brothers, Marvel, and Disney themselves. And then on account of that, you also have the possible Star Wars is supposed to come out early next year, around May or something like that. But again, it might come out later, so there's that possibility that the dates could change for it, and Star Wars could end up coming out around November. So again, obviously, Lionsgate wants to avoid any kind of pressure that they might get. Lionsgate and Hasbro and Allspark Pictures want to avoid any kind of disastrous pressure that they're going to get for this film, that they would get for this film, because it's going to be going up because it would be going up against these big budget films. That's why, like I said, you have them basically moving the date up by about a month, and you can't really blame them. And obviously, it's not just to get it out earlier. It's not just to try to cash in on the momentum that it has right now and probably will have next year. But you want to cash in on something that's basically but you want to protect, I should say. You want to protect that investment, if you will. You want to protect that investment that you have, and you don't want any kind of disaster to come its way. So even if it means taking it away from a potential holiday season release date, then you got to do that. It's nothing against the movie. It's nothing against the fact that November 3rd was not a bad date. It was probably the best opening they had, probably the best chance that they had. But when you're going to probably be going up against DC, Warner Brothers, if you will, Marvel, and Marvel Studios, their association with Disney, possibly Disney's next animated feature film, and possibly Lucasfilms as well through Disney with the next Star Wars anthology film or Star Wars film period, then you have trouble. You have trouble on your hands, if you catch my drift. So, and that's trouble you don't want to take part in. You want to avoid that trouble. And that's why Hasbro did what they did. That's why Hasbro and AllSpark Pictures and Lionsgate did what they did. They moved it to a more safer date that gives them plenty of room. Because as far as we know, there's no big budget film scheduled for release around that time. As far as we know, there's nothing big, nothing threatening, nothing that could stand in the way of ruining any chance that they might have of being a successful box office hit. So, to me, honestly, I think this is a smart move on Hasbro's part. I really do. I think it's a smart move because, one, financially, you're securing a possible number one box office rating for that weekend, for that opening weekend, because like I said in that little statement, that little essay I did, or editorial I did, where I came out and admitted that I did become a brony. I just didn't know it. When I said that, I said at the end that those that still think that MLPFIM is just meant for the younger generation, for the young girls and possible boys, better think again, because when that opening weekend happens in October, you're going to have a majority of that audience being, yes, you will have young kids, but a majority of them at times, especially at night, are going to be young adults, adolescents, people my age going to see it because they're fans of the product. People my age that are known as bronies, that are known as just overall fans of it, known as Pegasisters, if you will, are going to go with or without kids to see that movie. And because of that, it's going to get, yes, as I said in the statement, it's going to get massive media coverage because of this, but it's also going to become a number one box office hit for that weekend, and that might be the only weekend it's a box office hit. So obviously, with the moving of the release date, this is why Lionsgate did it. This is why Lionsgate and Hasbro Studios, AllSpark Pictures did it. They want to avoid any possibility that if they kept their November 3rd release date, they could get annihilated. They would get destroyed. And they don't want to deal with that. They want to make sure they have a proper chance. And to me, by moving to October 6th, they have a proper chance. They have a great chance, at least for one weekend, to be a huge box office hit and get a number one ranking at the box office. So to me, it's a smart move. It really is. It's a very smart move. Because when you think about it, not only does it give it time to stay, not only does it allow it to have a fair, if not greater chance at being a number one box office hit for its opening weekend, but for as long as it's in the theaters, and as far as we know, movies, depending on the success that they usually last about a month or a month and a half in the theaters. It has a great chance of staying in the top 5, maybe the top 10, and as far as the box office goes, for the longevity of its run, or for the longevity of its theatrical run. So let's say it's there to maybe mid-November. Let's say it's in theaters till mid-November, which makes proper sense because you got to make room for a lot of the for a lot of the movies that are going to be coming out to help kick off the Christmas holiday season, the holiday Christmas season. So let's say it's there to at least mid-November. you've given it at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You've given it almost legitimately, I would say 6 to 7 weeks to stay not only in the top 5, but maybe in the top 10 as far as box office goes. You're giving it basically a chance to stay in there at least until, like I said, mid-November, around Thanksgiving, the beginning of the holiday season, Christmas time, if you will. So you're giving it that opportunity to do so by moving the date up to October 6th. And again, I'll give you an example. You take a look at Batman v Superman. It was number 1 at the box office for at least maybe 1 or 2 weeks. But yes, I do admit it started to slowly decline in the rankings, but it was still breaking box office records. And not just here in the United States, but around the world. And by moving the date of the movie, you're giving MLP that chance to do something similar. Because honestly, let's be honest. There's a chance they're going to break a record. Maybe 1 or 2 records. One of the records I got a feeling they're going to break is biggest opening weekend for a movie, an animated movie, based on a franchise. I guarantee it. I mean, come on. Hollywood has all these records of movies breaking. They have all these lists of movies that have broken records. They have these categories of movies that have broken records, right? You can't tell me they don't have a category for an animated film based on a franchise that's broken a record. That's in the records. You can't, in the historical records. You can't say they don't, because they do. And it's not a promise, it's not a guarantee, but it's a feeling. It's just a feeling that I'm sure any newer fans like myself, any longtime fans since the beginning have right now, and that is that feeling is that opening weekend, it's going to break the record, like I said, Ed, for the biggest opening weekend for any animated film based on a franchise. I guarantee it. Based on a franchise, based on a property, a toy property, or whatever. It's going to break an animated film record based on an established franchise. That's what it's going to break. And it'll probably also break the record break the overall, and it might, not saying it will, it might break the record of overall film, it might break the box office record for any film based on a toy franchise. Animated wise, I have a feeling there's going to be no doubt it's going to break the record for an animated film based on a franchise of any kind, and that it might just break the record for a film overall based on a toy franchise. That is what I got a feeling is going to happen. It's going to break 1 or 2 records. And it might just break the record for being the number 1 animated PG, because it's going to get a PG rating. Let's not deny that. Let's get that out of the way right now. If you think this is going to get G, you might be right. But you know what? The way things are referenced and discussed, the way things are referenced, I should say in this series, the way people have talked about what's referenced, what the surprise gets referenced or nodded at, it's stuff like that. This movie will get a PG rating. Let's not deny that, okay? It will get a PG rating. I think we could pretty much know that's coming. We can pretty much confirm that that's coming, okay? We can pretty much confirm that a PG rating is coming for this film. We can pretty much confirm that, all right? And if that is the case, which I'm no doubting it will be, it'll probably break the record for the highest grossing, for its opening weekend, being the highest grossing animated PG film in history, not in history, but in the 21st century. I guarantee it. It's going to probably break that record, or at least tie that record. It's either going to break or tie the record for highest grossing animated PG rated for an animated PG rated film. That's what I got to feel. It's either going to break or tie the record for highest grossing PG rated animated film in history, if not in the 21st century. If not in this decade, if not in history. It's going to do it. I've got this feeling. It's going to break. I'll go on record right now myself and say it's going to break 3 records. Okay? It's going to break the record by being the highest grossing animated film based on a franchise of any kind. It's going to break the record by being the highest grossing film overall based on a toy franchise. And 3, it's going to break or tie the record for the highest grossing PG rated animated film in history. It's 3 records I've got a feeling it's going to break in its opening weekend. And why? Because that's going to be a that's going to be a testimony to how big the fan base is right now and how big the fan base is going to probably grow within a year and a half span. Because think about it. We're going into June now. Into June. Okay? June, July, August, September, October. We're 5 months away from October. So overall, we are 17 months away from the movie. And with that said, we are 17 months away from 3 possible records being broken. And it's all because Hasbro, Lionsgate, and AllSpark Pictures, which is also Hasbro, by the way, made the smart decision to move the MLP movie to an earlier release date, by at least almost a month. That's why. And if you look back at history, there's a lot of big budget films. They may not do so good as time goes on in the theaters, but they do well enough to the point that they do break records. They do break records. So I can almost guarantee, well, not guarantee, but I can almost tell you by gut feeling that is the reason. It'll be for that reason alone that those 3 records, in my opinion, I could be wrong, in my opinion though, will be broken, or at least one of them will be tied. So, and that is the reason, one of the major reasons why the movie was moved up to the October 6th release date. Okay? And that was one of the reasons. So, with that said, like I said, that said, let's take a look again at the reasonings. One, the first reasoning in closing is to avoid competition and to avoid a 1-2-3 knockout punch at the hands of Marvel, DC, and Disney with the release of the Justice League movie, the Black Panther movie, and possibly the next Disney animated feature, at least, or something from them, maybe the next Star Wars film. 2, it gives them a better chance, and 2, it gives them a better chance to have, it gives them a greater chance, I should say, at having a decent opening weekend, possibly a number 1 ranking opening weekend, as well as it allows them, with their popularity and everything, to probably stay in the top 5, if not the top 10, for the duration and longevity of the theatrical run. And 3, it allows them the potential to break several box office records on that weekend. Like I said, the box office records could be highest grossing animated film based on a franchise overall of any kind. highest grossing film based on a toy franchise, and possibly tie for highest gross, possibly break or tie for highest grossing PG rated animated film of all time. And possibly, if you want to add a fourth record in there, break or tie for highest grossing opening weekend in the easy for me to say. Again, if you want to add a fourth category, possible highest grossing, breaking or tying for highest grossing opening weekend in the first weekend of October, highest grossing opening first weekend for the beginning of October for any animated film, period. So that fourth one's a wild card, but the other three, like I said, are stronger possibilities. So that is why, those reasons right there are why, in my opinion, it was moved up. And it's like it was moved up to October. And it's like I said in my response to that question on the forum, and I even added my response to several Facebook group pages. I said it best. Hasbro, Lionsgate, they're not dumb. They know what they're going up against originally. That's why they did it. But again, like I said, it gives them the opportunity to move. It gives them the opportunity not only to not move, but to have a decent box office opening weekend, as well as garner a possible number one ranking. And like I said, it allows the door to remain open for them for as long as the movie is running in theaters to stay in that top 5, if not top 10 ranking for the box office until at least, as far as I'm concerned, at least until maybe mid-November of 2017. Again, like I said, that's one of the major reasons they're doing this. It allows them to have that number one ranking possibly, as well as it allows them to stay in contention for the top 5, if not the top 10 rankings, up until at least mid-November, when they'll probably take the movie out of the theaters. But again, not only does it allow those things to happen, it allows them to avoid being lost in the shuffle, if not knocked completely the heck out by by those big budget films, as well as in October, being the first weekend of October next year, it allows them to break several records, at least tie several records in the long run, because you know that's going to probably happen in some shape or form. So that's all I'm going to say on that. That's all I'm going to say. I know this went a little longer than it should, so I do apologize. But I had to get this off my chest, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Take your time. I'll probably put this in the description to take your time with this. But again, it's just something I had to get off my chest to let you guys know that, to let you guys know why. For some of you that were asking the question, because I know a lot of you were still asking and wondering why, hopefully this answered it. And hopefully you now understand the possibilities as to why it happened. And, realistically, how some of those possibilities could become a reality. So let me know what you guys think, though, down below. Again, in the description box, I'll tell you to take your time with this. Hopefully you have taken your time with it, as described in the description box. And that's really all I'm going to say. I know it's going on to be about a half hour long, so I do apologize. But again, in closing, the reasonings are real simple. 1, to avoid all the big budget films that are coming in November. 2, to have a greater and better chance at a number one box office weekend opening. And 3, to break, if not tie, several of the records that I've mentioned. From highest grossing animated PG-rated animated film of all time. Highest grossing film overall based on a toy franchise, as well as highest grossing animated film